It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
You understand the value of time.
Now, I want you to notice we said we didn't say you understand the time value of money. That's a different financial concept. You understand the value of time.
When you understand the value of time, you know what you're worth, and then you understand how scarce of a resource time is. And I didn't, the thing about this show, we've been doing this show since 2006. I'm always amazed when things that are going on right now line up into a great teachable moment. And there's a billionaire that passed away at the beginning of this month. Was actually, I guess, last month now, because we're now officially in the month of October 2019. But Boone Pickens, who made a lot of his money in the energy sector, passed away on September 11th of 2019. Here's something he did that was really interesting. He left kind of a post with thoughts on things that he found what made him successful or things he just wanted to pass down and pay it forward with to the next generation that was to be released right after he passed away. So there was a little forethought in this. And I'm going to actually read you one of the points. We could probably do an entire show on this, Bo. You brought this to me.
It was fantastic.
But this makes my point. Remember, the superpower, financial superhero understands the value of time. So let's read what Boone Pickens, who was a billionaire, what he says about this. He loves going and giving commencement speeches. This is one of his things. So that's the context as I'm reading this. Quote, in those speeches, I'd always offer these future leaders a deal. I would trade them my wealth and success, my 68,000-acre ranch and private jet, in exchange for their seat in the audience. That way, I told them, I'd get the opportunity to start over, experience every opportunity America has to offer.
So here's a guy sitting at the end of his journey. He had accomplished every financial accomplishment you could want, and he recognized the one thing that he would trade it all for was more time.
His time. Exactly.
More time to go back and do it all over again.
It is a truly priceless commodity and resource that I think a lot of us take for granted. That's why we have a saying around here, don't get busy doing nothing.
That's exactly right.
It's because you know how valuable your time is. So let's put that, and by the way, this is the part where you're supposed to sing as Robin.
I'm not singing.
Because this hit me when we were doing show prep. 525, 600 minutes. Yeah, that's like one and done.
Reby,
that was from Rent. It wasn't in tune though.
No, you nailed it.
You auto-tune that thing, Reby. Auto-tune that, and we'll make a fortune. So, but in reality, what is the average? Because that's 1 year. I'll nerd out and tell you that if you do 525,600 minutes.
That's 1 year.
It is exactly 365 days. Well, we figured out in our own nerdy way, what is the life, how many hours are in a human's life?
Sure.
And if you look at a typical life is around 80 years. I know we took some latitude there. We're optimists though, and we think you're going to live to 80 years old.
That's right.
It's actually 701,000 hours.
So that's how the number of hours we get to do the things on this earth we want to do is essentially 701,000 hours.
So I now think we need to understand, what does that mean? We created a slide so it could give you some knowing how scarce of a resource this is. So Bo, pull this up so we can kind of walk them through this. Look, this breaks my heart.
Yeah, so when you think about, you actually have, when you look at time with your spouse, if you assume that you count every hour of every day and you're married for 50 years, you have 438,000 hours that you spend with your significant other.
So a little over half your life,
That's
of course, and that makes sense. But look at it, and I'm realizing I'm in the fourth quarter. Heck, I might even be I'm not at the 2-minute warning point.
You're getting close, though.
I have a sophomore daughter in high school, and you only get 157,000 hours with your kids.
Before they move out of the house.
I mean, if we talk, we're going to have to move on from that one, because I will start crying like a baby just thinking about how scarce of a resource it is that you get these little balls of joy and chaos. It's not all joy. There's a lot of chaos in there in the beginning. And then before you know it, they're like doing their own thing. I mean, it's just crazy. So 157,000 hours, that just blows my mind that I've already got one that is getting to that point. And then, Bo, tell them about work, because that's an important part.
If you think about how often you work, I mean, this is where you spend most of the hours and most days. If you were to work 40 hours per week for 40 years, you're actually going to spend 83,200 hours at work. So it makes sense that you probably want to find something that you enjoy doing. You don't want to waste those 83,000 hours.
I thought it was interesting. Daniel found this one for us. He said, look, I did some research. The average human, to be happy, needs 2.5 hours a day of kind of free time,
Like
or
time to just
recreation,
do whatever it is
relaxing
that they wanna
kind of
do.
times to just do things on your own terms. So he actually extrapolated that out, and that leads to a lifetime of about 73,000 hours of free time if you're only getting the bare minimum
Right.
of 2.5 hours. But all this, here's the things. We want to give you these stats because it really is the teachable moment on this is do not waste this scarce resource. If you're looking at your life and you go, I'm just unhappy.
Yep.
I don't like my job. I don't like where things are going. Guys, take today to be your day of transition to figure out what the next step is, what the vision plan is, so you don't waste any more time because you're not getting more of it.
I think the thing that we always say, Brian, and this is financial planning, but also just in like general life planning, you have to understand your why. Well, when you start thinking about time as being your scarcest resource and
Yep.
every moment that passes is a moment that you will not get back, it will influence how you make your consumption decisions, how you make your savings decisions, how you make your wealth building decisions. If you can frame your decision making around that, you become a superhero who really
Sure.
understands the value of time.
Yeah, okay. I just thought about my teenage daughter, so it's just, we had to keep going. I'm serious. That will make your hair stand up and get all sentimental. So we'll just move on to number 3.